It took me 100 days to turn myself from this to this. And if there's one thing I did right, that must be... Okay, before I tell you the secret, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. First, do you have a vision of yourself? It doesn't have to be physically related. You can be intellectually successful, you can be financially free, or traveling around the world without worries. But do you have such a vision of how your future life is going to be? Second, when was the last time you said you're going to do something but you actually end up doing it? Also, how many times have you said you're going to exercise, you're going to eat healthy, you're going to sleep early, you're going to take care of yourself, and it all ended up with, I just do it tomorrow instead. And that tomorrow is buried with all your excuses. I know you're tired from work, but who's not? If you have all the answers to the questions earlier, you're halfway there because you know where you're going. You also have the ability to reflect on yourself. But if you don't, then no one has the ability to wake up someone who's pretending to be asleep, but the person himself. And now let me introduce my journey, Project Toji Fushiguro. Toji is a fictional character from the popular anime JJK. Not just having a monstrous ability, he also has a very aesthetic physique. And the moment I saw him, I immediately made his physique my goal. Like, I can vividly see my future self have a similar physique as his. And that's my vision. That's also the first step. When I started, I was kind of lazy because I just finished a long-ass trip from Asia and I literally stopped lifting for a month. And the only muscle I trained was my jaw muscle. Like, I was having the best period of my life. After I came back, I started the journey right away because that physique is that attractive to me. For the first few days, my fat storage, my energy were abundant, so it wasn't tired at all. But once the 1 week mark hit, it started to become very difficult. Like, I started to feel that kind of side effect of being impulsive, just jumping into a new diet, and that inconsistency is starting to shout out to me. That's why I always tell people the best way to stay in shape is to not do anything drastic. You want to gain weight, you gain it slowly. You want to lose weight, you lose it slowly. If you cannot be consistent with small steps, don't try to attempt a big one. Anyways, back to my story. Even though it was super tough, but I was super determined to not fail myself this time. And that day, I made a promise to myself, is that each time I go to the gym, I'm gonna train harder than last time. And by week 2, I've already lost 15 pounds. But if you know, you know, it's just water weight. That's why I usually don't weigh myself, because I don't want no anxiety. But I had to do it for the video. And the anxiety was hitting me like a hurricane. Because from day 14 to day 18, my waist didn't move at all. And on the 19th day, it was Christmas. Christmas hit. So I was like, I just don't care anymore. I just whatever. And I ordered sushi. It was one of the best sushi I've had because all the refreshed taste buds. What's also crazy is the pump next day. All those carbs from sushi, they're fueling my muscles. They're like balloons. That's also one of the best workouts I've had. And a little over 1 month, I started to see some shapes coming in, which motivated me even more to stay on this journey. And that's also when I started to use waist trainer. Honestly, I have no idea if this waist trainer is gonna work, but I see a lot of pro bodybuilders use it, so I kind of used it too. I mean, little work is better than no work, right? As I train harder and harder, I see more shapes coming in, and finally my bicep veins respond. And along with that, my metabolism was flying. I was eating around 28 something hundred calories a day. Like, it might be a surplus for a young healthy male, but I was just getting tighter and leaner. And by day 83, I reached a transition point of being lean and being shredded. I just wanted to keep going and see how far I can reach. And finally, that Toji guy, my vision, my new self, was born. And I know you guys are interested, so let's break down of exactly what I did. For weight training, I train 5 times a week. And believe it or not, I don't follow a specific program. I just kind of train according to how I felt on that day. Like, if I was tired, I won't go heavy on a compound, but I made sure I was squeezing every bit of energy and passion that I had. And I do try to hit my abs 3 times a week because I want to get tighter waist, but it really depends. And it was mostly 2-3 major muscle group focused. I never did something like chest and back because when you're cutting, you have very limited amount of glycogen and energy. I just don't think after a crazy set of chest press, You can do the pole exercise perfectly. And I trained for 5 days only, mainly because of recovery. You make muscle from recovery, from sleep, from eating food, not from the training. Training only breaks down muscle tissues, that's all. So recovery is very important. And for cardio, of course, you need cardio to create caloric deficit because it's gonna increase caloric expenditure. I was doing about somewhere around 75 to 90 minutes a day. But I started with lower numbers, like 35 minutes post-workout, and it gradually increased as I go. You know, I've thought about just replacing the cardio with HIIT. You burn like the same amount of calories, but you spend way less time. If you think about it, you only have limited amount of glycogen you want to use for weightlifting. So I try to not sacrifice that part just to avoid muscle breakdown by any chance. And that's why Liz was a better choice in this case. Nutrition wise, I just followed a good old bodybuilding meal frequency, 5 to 6 meals a day. Breakfast would be like oats with egg whites, blueberries, some fish oil, whatever, regular stuff. For lunch and dinner, I usually pick fish or chicken, pair with rice or sweet potatoes. Not so much beef, because I want to avoid fats, I want to avoid too much calorie intake. I mean, chicken and rice is boring, but they get job done. It's just that simple. But there's one thing though, you want to adjust your calories and your macros as you go, because each state you're gonna feel different, you're gonna look different. You would usually want adequate amount of fats, enough protein to repair your muscles, and adjust your carbs according to activity levels. My meal plan is attached in the description below if you want to check it out. And let's talk about supplements. And for supplements, I just take the basic stuff. Creatine monohydrate, glutamine, some thermals like L-carnitine, L-tyrosine. But most of the time, I just use black coffee or some pre-workout products. I know supplements can help us train better and feel better during the session, but my honest opinion as a natty lifter, I just think food plays more like a vital role, and how you recover, how you sleep, plays a more important role compared to what supplements you take. All the supplements I took from the past, they just either boost my energy like black coffee does, or just make me kind of sweat a little bit more. That's about it. But in the end, if you don't train hard, you don't even do the basics right, whatever supplements you take, whatever PEDs you take, it's not gonna boost you nothing except for your ego. But these are just my conclusion from my experience. I hope you try it out so you can have yours. To look back and to think about it, the only thing I did right was turning my vision into reality. It's about making a promise with myself and keeping that promise. I breathed it and I lived it. I know many people like to make promises. Oftentimes, the only thing that's promised is a broken promise. And like Kobe Bryant said, if you've found your purpose, you know exactly where you're going, you know what you want to study, the whole world would turn into your library. And according to what I see, I think people know exactly what to do when it comes to weight loss, but they just don't do it. Because this health and wellness thing might not be as worthy in your eyes, or it's not your priority. This idea can be applied to anything in your life. It can be your relationship, it can be your career, or it can be just as small as housework. If it's really that important, you will make time for it. Making excuses can help a person stay in the comfort zone. I mean, we all like comfort zone, but that's also an act of neglecting your responsibilities. Enough said. I wish my journey has inspired you, even just a little bit. At the end of the day, it's your life. So day one or one day, your choice.